Welcome, dear students. The current session is Synchronic Changes in Language Part 2. This would help you further understand certain concepts related to synchronic changes in language in general and in the English language in particular. Well, my dear students, let us begin with a question. The question is synchronic approach complementary or contrastive to diachronic approach? Just to refresh your memory, I would say synchronic approach is looking at the changes in a language at a particular time point, and it does not take into account the changes taking place through the times. It does not consider changes taking place in the past, over the years, or over the centuries. As compared to that, diachronic linguistics deals with the study of language and changes in language from historical perspective, what has happened in the past, how a particular language has evolved semantically, syntactically, graphologically, in orthography, morphologically, pragmatically, etc. This is how diachronic linguistics studies language, by considering the evolution and change taking place through the times. So, considering the question whether, synchronic and diachronic approaches are two complementary approaches or two, opposite or, conflicting approaches, I would say synchrony and diachrony are two different approaches, yet they are complementary to each other in terms of linguistic analysis. One can approach at different aspects of language such as grammar, syntax, semantics, and phonology from either of the points of view. You can take a synchronic approach or you can take a diachronic approach to study any of these aspects of language. Synchronic linguistics tries to understand the functioning of language at a single point of time without reference to earlier or later stages. It mainly focuses on describing how language is at a particular time point. And I would give just an example of the working of any system. If you want to understand how a system works, for example, you want to understand how a particular educational system works, or for example, you want to understand, how a banking system works. To understand that, you need to look at it in two ways. A, you need to look at it at that particular time point where you are studying it, how it is operating, how it is functioning, or how it is working, what are its characteristics, etc. Number two, in order to understand how it is working, whether it is working is good or bad, how much change has occurred, etc. And for that, you need to look at the past. How it started, from where it started, who started it, in what ways it developed and evolved, were there ups and downs in its development, has it, shrunk, or it has expanded, etc. Same is the case with the study of language through synchronic and diachronic approaches. Synchronic approach is complemented by the diachronic approach, because if you want to look at language how it is today or at any particular time point, the perspective of history, the historical perspective, that is the diachronic perspective, it also helps you understand how it has reached that particular time point. In other words, what I would say is a synchronic study of language is a way where there are further possibilities. For example, there can be a comparison of languages or dialects used within some defined spatial region, in a particular space, in a particular region, during the same time point. So, at a same time point in one village and the other village, in one region and other region, in one country and another country, or in one continent and another continent. Determining the regions of the United States in which people currently say pop instead of soda. For example, if somebody is studying that, how people are using, different vocabulary items as choice. In which of the states the word pop, the vocabulary item pop, is used, in which the term soda is used for the same thing. If somebody is studying that, we would call this is a study in synchronic linguistics. Can you think of how synchronic changes in English can be studied in today's context where in Pakistan you live? I think if you ponder over this question, probably you can come up with some answers where, you can see in the current state, we see a lot of shift towards American English, for instance, instead of British English. In the same way, within the language, the vocabulary that is being used, there is a shift. Today, most of the American vocabulary is being used.